This video is a complete guide to defensive adjustments in College Football 25. We're going to start with the bare basics and then work our way into more of the advanced concepts that we can do in this game, like turning a coverage that looks like this into a coverage that looks like this. Everything we're talking about here has actually helped me win tens of thousands of dollars, so if you're somebody who wants to become a better defensive player, let's get to the video. Now, everyone here can see I'm on Lawson right in the middle of the field. That is my user. If I just tap B or circle on PlayStation, I'm going to flip over to the left corner. Now, if we tap it again, we're safety, outside corner, whatever. You see, I don't really have much direction here. If I hold B or circle and then use the left stick, I can actually go over, right? I can point the left stick in the direction I want to switch to. Now I want to go up. And now remember, if I tap B from right here, I go to that outside corner. But if I hold B and push left on the left stick, that's going to put me on the linebacker next to him. This is how we can change who we're on very, very quickly. So the reason this is important is because if we tap A or X on PlayStation, you'll see we can actually make adjustments in the bottom left of your screen right here per each defender, okay? This is going to bring up a bunch of different things. And we'll go into what some of these mean here soon, but notice that each position's actually going to have different adjustments right here. So we're in the middle linebacker spot right now, and you can see he has a middle third adjustment, okay? Right? So we can go up on the left stick, and now he's in a middle third. If we go to our slot corner, though, up on the left stick is now a seam flat, okay? And then if we go to an outside corner, like we are right here on Jackson on the outside, a up on the left stick is now an outside third. And if we go to a safety, it's going to be a deep half, okay? And what I'm getting at here is that each position group, and really each position and kind of each alignment even sometimes, has different stock hot routes or adjustments that you could put your defender on. Now, I'm going to deep dive my favorite individual adjustments here soon, but look at my user right now. We're in the middle of the field. Notice how I'm on him, yet right now, I just made a bunch of adjustments to my defense without ever leaving my user. This is super helpful once you get it down because you can be on the person you want to be on and never have to worry about getting clicked onto a defensive lineman or something, okay? So let's break this down a little bit. If you press Y or triangle on PlayStation, you're going to bring up your coverage adjustments, okay? And then we have the left stick and the right stick. That's the main things we want to focus on here. There's some little stuff at the bottom here. We'll talk about it later. Left stick is going to be all alignment style stuff. So we could give cushion, we could press, or we could show cover 3 right here, where we showed cover 3, but I'm actually in cover 2 still. Or we could show 2, which wouldn't really make sense if we're also just sitting in cover 2, but you get kind of the idea. Now with the right stick, we get to make actual adjustments to the defensive backs as a whole. And this is, in coverage adjustments, is all shading. Okay, we could shade over top, inside, outside, or underneath. These are all a little bit more advanced concepts. Now, you could take them at face value. Shade over top means you're going to play a little bit further back. Underneath means you're going to play a little bit more underneath. But there's some more advanced stuff that we're going to talk about here later in the video. With left on the D-pad, if we just tap left on the D-pad, we actually bring up our defensive line. Now, again, with the left stick, we get alignment things. So we can go left, right. We could pinch them or spread them. Usually, these are the two that I use the most, and they're pretty self-explanatory. If you think something inside, you might pinch. Think something outside, you might spread them, okay? With the right stick, though, we can actually slant them in different directions. And usually, I'll pair these two things together. So, I'll usually pinch my defensive line and then slant inside. That's going to do a really good job at defending against inside runs. And it can also help you generate a lot of good pass rush pressure, in my experience. A lot of my blitzes involve slanting my defensive line inside. Notice the red arrows right here, right on my D line. Notice them? Now, if we go slant outside, look at where they're going. It changes. So that is what literally changes. Very rarely do I do slant left or slant right. But if you're super worried about like a run to the right side, slanting in that direction isn't the worst idea ever. Just not like a tactic that I use very often. Now, specific to the linebackers is right on the D-pad, okay? So left on the D-pad is defensive line. Right on the D-pad is linebackers. With the left stick, they get all of these same ideas with spread, pinch, right, left. You get that idea, pretty basic. With the right stick, though, we can actually go down and blitz all backers, okay? That's a big deal adjustment. In this defense I'm in right now, we only have 2 linebackers, but in some defenses like 3-4 or 3-3, there's going to be more, and this will have an even bigger impact. But just like we can go down on the right stick to blitz all linebackers, we can go up on the right stick, and now we've zoned out all of our linebackers. Both of these are big dog adjustments that are very important to know. And then you can go left or right on the right stick to blitz an individual player as well. This is the bare bones to adjusting on defense, and I think everybody should have a good understanding of how to do just this at the very least. If you've gotten any value from this video at all, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It helps out this channel a ton, get pushed to more and more college football players just like yourself who are just trying to get better and have more fun playing the game. So let's deep dive shading now, okay? Let's be pressing Y or triangle to bring up the coverage adjustment screen. And shading for man coverage is a little bit different than shading for zone coverage. So I'm gonna break down man and then we'll work our way into zone. If we shade our coverage underneath by going down on the right stick in man coverage, you are gonna have your defensive backs press at the line of scrimmage. That's gonna engage in a hand check or hand fighting at the snap. So if we watch number 1 on the right of your screen and the defensive back above him, let's snap the ball and let's see what happens. See, there's a little bit of hand fighting. Now, if your defensive back is really, really good, he could literally stalemate the dude at the line of scrimmage. Or if the wide receiver is really good, he could just beat the dude off the line of scrimmage. But again, that is shading underneath. If you do it again, you see there's a little bit of hand fighting, whatever, and the DB wins the rep yet again. So what happens if we shade over top? Well, that is going to give you a free release. So if we shade over top, let's hut. Notice that time, there was absolutely no press, right? There was no hand fighting. It was a free release. We're going to shade over top again. Let's hear it. Let's see it. Boom. Again, there was no press. There was some bumping, but no press. And it actually ended up helping the DB get beat because the wide receiver was able to run his route faster. Okay. Every play on defense, every man coverage play has a built-in stock shade. Shading will override it, but cover 2 man, for example, is going to press always. It's going to be a shaded underneath stock because you have safety help over top. So you don't have to, you don't need help over top, or you don't need to give him a free release. You can play aggressive. See right here, that was with no shade, but he's still, nice catch. He's still pressed because cover 2 man has a built-in stock shade, and all the different man coverages do, all right? Now, we've talked about shading over top or underneath. What does inside or outside do? Okay, shade inside is going to help our DBs force them outside, and shading outside, here, watch this, right? I'm gonna shade inside. Watch my slot corner on the right. Boom, we shaded inside, he went inside. Shade outside, shade outside. And this is pretty straightforward, right? Let's say I think they're gonna run a slant from number 1 right there. I would shade inside, and I might even shade underneath because that's going to help press him to the inside, right? That's going to help avoid that slant getting open. Now, the receiver can still win, and he does right there. That's a general idea. If you thought somebody was running a corner route, you might press and shade outside. Kind of get the idea, right? Pretty straightforward. I don't want to sit there for too long talking about that, but you can really build your defense around that, right? A lot of times, I like to do a shade outside as a very base, but one of my favorite man coverages here, and this is just a little like tip, is this style of man where we have double safeties in flats. So in this case, why would I shade outside? We have help to the outside. I want to shade over top and I want to shade inside. So in case they run a deep post, I'm going to be able to be there and not get beaten over top because I have no safety help. Just a little bit of an example right there, right? And if I did something like this, well, then I actually want to shade underneath and shade outside. So that's a little like tidbit of how shading works inside of man coverage. So now let's talk about shading for a zone coverage that looks something like this. It's just a basic cover 2 here, okay? Shading inside and outside for zone coverage has a minimal effect. You can get super nerdy with it, but it's not something I want to talk about here. So really, we're going to focus on shading underneath and shading over top in zone and what that does, okay? Right here, let's put a curl flat on the left side. We have a cloud flat. And we'll even put another curl flat from the safety right here just to kind of showcase this, okay? If we shade underneath, that turns every flat zone, no matter what it is, into a hard flat. Hard flats are going to play about 0 yards to 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. Keep that in mind. No matter what the flat zone is, it'll do that. If we shade a over top, it'll turn every hard flat into a cloud flat. But let's look right here again. We have a curl flat on the left side. What if we shade the curl flat over top? What does that do? Curl flat stays a curl flat if you shade it over top, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit tricky, but just relatively keep it in mind, okay? Now, when it comes to our zones in the middle of the field, like all of our yellows, our hook curls, vert hooks, mid reads, they are affected by shade underneath and shade over top. But in the most simplest form, shading a hook curl underneath will make him play a little bit lower. Shading him over top will make him play a little bit further back. And a good example of that is I'm going to shade over top right here. And let's watch this guy right here, Smith, against this route combo right here. Okay? Hut. We're going to be able to throw this drag very, very easily. All right? Now, let's shade him underneath. Okay? Same defense, everything the same. Boom. And he's going to play that drag much, much better. All right? Now, the next thing with shading to keep in mind, because it changed our flat zones, is that if we're trying to defend a corner route or a deep out route, we want a cloud flat. So we would just shade over top or call a play that has a stock hard flat. Let's say you're in cover 3, though. How do you get a cloud flat in cover 3? Because if I shade this over top, the curl flat just stays a purple. Well, we'd have to shade underneath and then shade over top, okay? And now we run this deep out route. The cloud flat's going to play it, right? He plays a little bit too high, actually, but he does decent coverage. He does play a little bit too high. If we only shaded this cover 3 underneath, what is that going to do? That's going to make the flat zone turn into a hard flat, all right? Hut. The out route is wide open, but you know it's bagged? Wow. If the ball goes through your hands, you are screwed. You tip your cap, and you go outside for a little bit today, okay? But, hey, that is nuts. The ball just went through my hands, dude. Oh, my gosh. Hard flat. Let's do it again. Let's hope that the ball doesn't go through my freaking hands again, dude. But yeah, hard flat's going to do a good job against these type of things. There we go. That's the pick we're looking for. And I know just a little bonus tip for you guys in this. Some of you might be wondering how I'm able to see my play art, and that is in the main menu, settings, and you want to go to a setting called user controlled play art and turn that on. Only can be done in the main menu settings, by the way. Now, when we're shading zone coverages, it's important to keep in mind that zone drops will override these. So if we're in this screen right here and click the right stick in and scroll down, you see we have zone drop flats, zone drop curl flats, and zone drop hooks. Zone drop flats is going to apply to hard flats, quad flats, and soft squats. Those are like those, they're all blue flats. Curl flats are going to be any kind of purple or pink flat, and then hooks is any yellow in the middle of the field. And I want to show why this is kind of important right here. So I'm going to set this to 20, and I'm going to set my hooks to 20 as well, and then we'll go into a cover 3 sky, and here. So I'm going to shade this underneath. So the hook curl should play the drag, and the hard flat should play the drag as well, right? And let's put our tight end on a drag, and let's snap the ball. Notice that they don't. And it's because, again, zone drops override your shade. So it's just something important to keep in mind. It's a big issue that a lot of people have. And I will often, in an actual game, I'll change my zone drops throughout the game. I'll put them on default. I'll put them on 25, right? All the shading stuff underneath and over top for zones applies to when that zone is in default, okay? So you can have your curl flats at 25, and if you put a hard flat on the field, he'll play wherever he's supposed to play at default, right? But if you have your flats at 25 and put that hard flat on the field, he's going to play to 25 yards. Now, I got to talk about how our coverages and the adjustments we make can change the run defense we play a ton. Every coverage, whether it's cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, cover 1 man, cover 0, whatever, has different run fits. You can see these by holding the right trigger or R2 on PlayStation and then holding X. And you can see run fits to the left of the screen. But then we can, if we hold B or circle, you can see run fits to the right of the screen, okay? Now notice our outside corners are not in run fits right here. This is out of cover 4. They're not going to be in run fits. So if we snap this ball, the outside corner backpedals. Why? Because he's initially playing the pass, which is him in an outside quarter. So what can we do with that? Well, if he's going to backpedal in an outside quarter, what would he do in a hard flat, right? Because now his assignment is to just play the hard sideline. We do it right there, and notice now he actually changed his angle entirely to take a hard path to the hard flat. Why? Because he's playing the pass first. Now, every single coverage has different run assignments, and you can change these quite a bit, right? So let's go back to this again right here, and you can kind of see he's going to go hard to the flat again. What if we put him in a, let's see, what if we put that guy in a deep half? What happens here, right? Outside corners in a deep half. He's going to change his angle a little bit, and now he's going to backpedal to get into that deep half first. One of the really cool ways I like doing this is out of cover 2, right? If we look at the run fits for this, our safeties are totally out of the run fit. But if we take this guy and put him into a hard flat, we could take both of them and put them into hard flats, for example, just to show you what this could look like. Now watch our top safety on the left. he's now going to come down super, super hard and actually gets a clean shot on us on an outside run. Utilizing different coverages to optimize your run defense can easily be the difference between getting a stop on 4th and inches or letting up a first down, which ultimately loses you the game. This is a massive difference maker. And yes, zone drops do play a factor in this as well. So this is where things start to get fun, because if you can get good at this, you can be a top 1% defensive player in the world. I'm being very, very serious with you, okay? So we've talked about how if you press A or X on a player, you can change their individual adjustments, right? And then we've also talked about how, like, with the D-pad to the left, we could do defensive line stuff. To the right, we could do linebacker stuff. And then pressing Y or triangle, we can affect our defensive backs. But what if we press one of these buttons twice? What does that do? So if we tap Y or triangle twice, let's go boom, boom. Now we get into what's called our individual adjustment. So that's by tapping the icon 2 times. Now we can actually select a defender. So let's say I want to put my outside left corner X into an outside third. Let's press X. And now we get the same adjustments as if we were on top of him and using him and pressing A or X. So now we go boom. And now he's an outside third without me ever actually having to change my user from Lawson. But actually, no. I want him blitzing. Double tap Y, right? Y to open coverage adjustments. Y again to quick adjust. And now let's select him again. And let's actually go down the right stick. Now he's blitzing. Look, covered. There we go. Now he's blitzing. The power of this is insane because every single defender on the field can do this. I actually need to spy one of my defensive linemen against, is it Dylan Gabriel? I think it's Dylan Gabriel, right? That's his first name. So one of my, but I don't want to get off my user, right? Because this right here, you know, I might get stuck and whatever. So we're using here. Let's double tap left on the D-pad, and that's going to bring up icons for all of our defensive linemen. So here, let's actually select X, and then we're going to go click right or left on the right stick. Boom. Now we take a look at this. Now we have a spy, okay? And the way we can change some, like kind of chain some of these commands together is absolutely massive. And it seriously is a huge, huge, huge difference maker for you when it comes to playing this game. An example of that would be, let's go mid blitz 0 right here, okay? Mid blitz 0, very, very popular in every single game, but it's an absolute cover 0, which means it's very easy to get beaten for one-play touchdowns. So one of my favorite things to do here is to first press and then let's say slant inside, right? Let's say that's 2 things I want to do. A little visual bug. There we go. Here's our defensive look. Now I want to actually change this into a cover 3. See, you can do that really, really fast. And now actually, I don't want to cover 3 here anymore. I want to cover 2 on the right side with the backside manned up. So let's reset the play. Let's just pretend we're totally restarting, right? We just broke the huddle. And now let's cover 2 this side with, we actually put a hard fly on the left side as well. I probably wouldn't do that on the left, but maybe it's 4th and inches. I don't know. Okay. Now let's say we actually want to keep the man coverage, but let's actually get our defensive line from blitzing. So now we're able to put some hard flats on the field. We can do this very, very fast. And the key here, there's a few things, right? First and foremost, you gotta be comfortable in your defensive formation. This is why I recommend finding a defense and sticking in it for a while, because you just gotta learn the different buttons, okay? That is massive. The next thing is that so many people tell me you can't get these adjustments off before your opponent snaps. And you're right to an extent. If you try doing something like, you know, this every single play where you're doing all this different stuff, yes, it's going to be tough to get all of this stuff off every single time. But I'm a big believer that you can get between 3 to 5 adjustments off before they can even snap if you start you have an idea of what adjustments you want to make right here. You already have an idea before you call it. And then as soon as you break the huddle, go boom, boom, boom. Here we go. We're ready. Right side's already taken care of. They cannot snap the ball that fast. There's like a 3-second timer before they can snap. There you go. And you can do this from any defense. My favorite way of doing it, right? Because I don't want you doing all of this stuff. I just want to show you the power of all of this. My favorite thing to do here is I love the idea of just basic cover 3s. So let's go into a cover 3 sky. And then, right, we're in cover 3 sky. I love the idea of shading my coverage underneath and then manning up one of my linebackers onto one of their most powerful receivers, okay? So let's say number 1 right here on the right side, number 1, he's been just cooking me, all right? We would just shade our coverage underneath by pressing Y or triangle down on the right stick. That's going to get these hard flats on the field. And then I'm going to double tap right on the D-pad to individually adjust a linebacker, select him. Man coverage is up on the right stick, and then we're going to man him up onto the guy. That sounds complicated. I know it does, because I am an idiot. But I'm telling you, once you get the idea of it inside of your defensive formation and you try it in practice mode, it is not hard to do at all. I'm telling you this as somebody who has somehow managed to win tens of thousands of dollars playing very good defense against the best players in the world, who is a certified idiot. So I promise you, you are able to do this. It takes a little bit of practice, and you don't want to overwhelm yourself. I'm a big believer in making simple adjustments. But let's say another example of this, very, very basic. We have this cover 3, but they are not attacking the right flat at all. So if they're not attacking the right flat at all, who's pointless here? My Harf, why the hell would I have him out here, right? So I can actually double tap Y to select my defensive backs. He's a safety. Select him, and I'm actually just going to put him in a vert hook. Because why would I have a hard flat on the field if they're never hard flatting, right? And the way we can do this very, very fast, and this is really what I recommend people start doing. Again, if that mid-blitz stuff I was doing was intimidating, good. That's what you can do at the very highest level when you get really fast, but it's not realistic for people to do that when you're first starting. I just want to show you the power. Let's go cover 3 sky. Boom. We're ready. We have that vert hook, right? We have the hard flat on the left. We shade underneath. We have that vert hook. That's 2 adjustments. Shade underneath, double tap Y to individually adjust, select our guy, and vert hook, okay? You do this in a bunch of different ways. Let's say they always, I don't know, let's say they never attack the deep left. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but you could then double tap Y, select X, and then put him on a hard flat. There we go. Let's say you got to get a spy on the field. Double tap left on the D-pad, select defender, and we're going to QB spy this guy on the left. There is sometimes UI bugs in the game. Keep that in mind. So sometimes you just have to show your play art twice. Just a little dumb thing in the game. But that is the power of quick adjusting, the maximum of what we can do, and some of the very basics that we can add into our game. And I'm telling you, having this just in your toolbox is going to change everything for you, because it's going to make running blitzes easier. It's going to let you set up your defenses faster. It's going to let you adjust to certain routes better. And that's what I actually want to talk about, is some very hyper-specific adjustments that I make inside the normal defenses that I run to take away some annoying routes. Very quickly, I do want to mention something regarding match coverage. So any of these coverages that are like cover 6 Willie, cover 4 quarters, any kind of cover 3 blitz, cover 4 palms, these are all matching defenses, but we can actually turn the match off or change the match. So first and foremost, in matching defenses, if you have any of your zone drops on at all, doesn't matter if they're on the field or not, hooks to 5, flats to 5, whatever it is, it'll turn the match off. The other thing here is if we go cover 4 quarters, if we snap this ball, we're going to see we're in match coverage, right? And you can really tell, especially with that top safety, you actually see blown coverage on the right side. I don't like match in this game. It's very inconsistent. I've done, like, I'm not going to get into it in this one. But if we just shade our coverage underneath, this will also turn off the match coverage, and it's just going to play what's called drop zone. So I want you to keep that in mind. And then along with that, if you change like an inside quarter into a deep half or something, that can also change how things are going to match pretty drastically as well. It could just get rid of that one guy matching, or it could change how everybody matches. There's a few different examples of that, but just want to throw that information out there just so you have it. So I want to give you guys actual, like, real life examples of real adjustments that I make to defend against annoying things in the game. And the first thing I want to talk about is defending against corner routes. This is a combination adjustment where we need to go into our coaching settings or coaching adjustments. Let me first select the corner route play. We're going to go down to curl flat zone drops and put these at 30 yards, okay? Very, very important. And what we got to make sure we do is have a curl flat out here on the corner route side of the field. All right, this is one of the ways I'll defend corner routes. So let's go a little hut, and we will see the corner route I threw in the last clip is no longer open, and it's going to get picked off. Now, I might be saying, well, Civil, what about underneath? Great question. Very smart. What we want to do then, if we have a deep flat zone, like we do with this curl flat, is we would then take one of my hook curls and put them in a hard flat. Okay? That'd be a quick adjustment, or you could go on to them if you wanted to. But now we have what's called a Mabel coverage in video game terms, different than real life, but a Mabel coverage here. And if we snap this ball, you'll see underneath is blanketed, up top is blanketed. This is just really good defense, right? That is how I'm going to defend corner routes big time. Or another way is, let's say that receiver is just absolutely killing me, right? It could be a corner route, it could be anything, but it's the middle wide receiver on the left. I might just take my linebacker and man him up onto that guy. And then we're going to at least try to bracket him some, right? The corner route might still be open. It's not right there. But it's going to really make every throw to that guy super tight. So that's one of the big ways I'll take away corner routes. Now, this is a route that gives almost everybody issues, myself included, and is called the seam streak, okay? This is when your opponent's being an absolute seaming demon and just launching this ball right here over and over. People usually do this from trips, or they'll do it from like 5 wide from usually the trip side of things, okay? So, a few different ways I like to defend this. First and foremost, this isn't a quick adjustment tip, but just use your user, dude. So many people underestimate that your user can change everything about the timing of a throw, or you can even get a pick on it, right? They go to quick throw it. Oh my gosh, you're there, and you're able to get a pick. You change the entire game. Now you win. All because of your user. That's the easiest adjustment to make in a lot of different situations. Now, another way we can defend this, though, using quick adjustments, is there's always going to be a defender on top of that seam guy, the guy going up the seam. So we can actually just put him in a vertical hook to help change the timing of this throw. You can still fit this throw in, but it's a lot scarier of a quick throw because our defender's sitting underneath him. And if we do this again right here, they can throw a pick to him. So we do something like this. Boom. Ah, okay. A little bit tough. So they're able to get that open. I actually like that adjustment a lot. But if you're in a situation where it's just not working for whatever reason, what if we just take that guy and man him up now? Okay. Let's go here. Boom. Now, no longer a throw. Right, so that's an easy one as well. I like the vert hook because usually, in my experience, people don't throw it or they change the timing of the throw and it gets picked off or played. But if it's a situation like that where it's getting played still, or it's still getting open, you just man this guy up. Or you could do this instead. Man up the interior guy onto him. Okay? Then they go to throw this. Defended. Boom. Easy enough. Super easy way to take away seams. Now, everybody loves one-play touchdowns, but everyone hates one-play touchdowns when they're on defense. And obviously, you know, this is just going to be a lot of coverages over the top. So how can we actually avoid this using quick adjustments? Well, cover 3 is really known for giving up one-play touchdowns. But what if we took our outside third right here on the side that they're trying to bomb, and we put him in a deep half? That's going to get him to play back further. And we can actually showcase that, okay? Let me just set up this bomb really fast again. Let's go right here. Here's a little bomb setup. If you want one, you can just screenshot that. But then we have a cover 3 with a deep half from our outside guy on the right instead of a deep third. Let's see if this still bombs. Notice that deep half turns his hips and runs, and now he's going to make that a very, very tough throw. And actually, he totally bags it. Easy way to defend one-play touchdowns is by deep halving your outside corners because they just back up way better. Okay, so RPOs, really good in this game. You've probably had someone run RPOs on you, whether it's a screen or a bubble or something. But there's a couple of easy ways we could take this away. Again, keep in mind, these are very good. So, like, the bubbles, very, very good. First, we could just run straight man coverage. This isn't my favorite option, but this is an option where all of the wide receivers are accounted for. They don't have numbers on us. So if they call this and throw it, you see, we just get hat on hat. You just hit them, make the tackle. Maybe you get a pick, maybe you don't. Now, the way I like to do it is from a zone coverage. Take one of our interior defenders, so usually like a hook curl or a vert hook, and man him up onto the guy getting the bubble. If it was a middle guy, I'd do middle guy. If it was a wide receiver screen to the outside guy, I would do him. And now, because we're doing it with an interior defender, we're able to get hat on hat. We call this again, boom, and you see we're able to get a diving swat. It could easily be a pick. So that's a couple different ways. Now, the next way I'll do sometimes is like this right here, with a high safety in a hard flat. Now, this won't blow up the RPO, but it'll get your safety coming down, and he just gets a pretty good angle. I'm using him right now, so I'm an idiot. But he gets a pretty good angle when he comes down to actually make the play. So let's do it again right here. Let's go, bang. We throw the bubble, and you see he gets kind of this outside shed, and the bubbles are always going to be pass led to the outside, so he's just going to do a good job of just like kind of halting it. Just another option that you can put into your game. Although, again, my favorite, zone coverage, man up an interior defender onto that bubble. We snap the ball, we throw the bubble, and we're able to make the hit on him. And that's a potential pick 6. I've seen that picked off a ton. Now, this was a general overview, and there's a lot more in-depth stuff that we could go over in a future video. But for now, make sure you check out this one where I give you the complete guide to playing defense in College Football 25. We're just going to cover a lot of things that we didn't even get to touch on in this one.